I'm going to go ahead and get started. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Hi, Anne. Hi, Frederick. Hi, Ben, Amber, Bill. Did I miss anybody? Kristen, Millard. Thank you so much for coming in. Tonight, I'm joined by Ray Gibson, also known as KingRayVet here on Substack. He is the eldest son of the late, great Bob Gibson, the St. Louis Cardinals Hall of Fame pitcher and one of the most dominant players in baseball history. Ray was born in 1957. He served in the military, built a career in software, spoke publicly for Landmark Worldwide, and now does YouTube content. Tonight, we're going to talk about, all things Ray, how he grew up, what life was like. And Ray, if you could go ahead and just introduce yourself to everybody, that'd be great.
Yes, I am King Ray Vet, and the vet stands for veteran. I was a veteran of the United States Air Force back in the 70s, early 80s. And yeah, my life was very interesting growing up as Bob Gibson's kid. Um, I did not start out in software, by the way. I had to work my way up from hardware in the computer industry. But
Got
I was in there before PCs were ever invented. I was there when the internet began. I was there for all of that. And it was fun, but it was very taxing.
Yeah,
'Cause when it first came up, you had to be a programmer to configure the damn thing. It was ridiculous.
right.
Um, it was very difficult. But I've also just hit my 43-year sobriety mark on the 23rd of May.
4 years for me. Still got a ways to go, but 4 years for me.
4 years, good for you. Good for you. Just keep going one day at a time. They accumulate.
Yeah.
Um, but my family, as pickled as they were proud of me uh, being clean and sober that long, and I just kept going no matter what, even if
Yeah.
my ass was falling off, and trust me, it did.
Right. I
I
know.
mean,
I
I became
started
homeless several
sober
times. Hmm?
and said, "Yeah, I waited for the world to start ending to go sober." So,
I know what time um, but yeah, I lost my mother, I lost my father, I lost my sister. I'm the last one left of the generation that saw my dad pitch. I do have a brother, but he's very estranged from me because he was raised with a different mother, and everything was kind of goofy because my dad didn't really. Some families integrate well, and some families, the one that was responsible for the integration just checks out and doesn't integrate the family. So that's basically what happened to him. He just flitted off somewhere. Um, but I am the last one left, which is kind of strange. But I made quite a life for myself when I, got into YouTube content creating, which was 2016. Everybody kept telling me as they were talking to me that you should go live, you should go on YouTube, you should do videos, you should go do, and I kept saying, yeah, what, yeah, okay, felt in the back of my mind. But after a while, total strangers that didn't know each other were saying that, and I thought, okay, this is a sign from God that
yeah.
I need to be doing this. And I've been doing it ever since. I don't even really do it anymore. I write here on Substack. And if I do videos, I do them here and they go automatically over to my YouTube channel.
Okay.
So the last six, 6 or 7 videos have ended up from Substack to YouTube. Um, but
And are you King Ray Vet on YouTube as well?
no,
So, what are you on YouTube so people can find you there as well?
I'm the pollinator,
The Pollinator. Got it.
EA pollinator. And what came to me one night is that I pollinate people. Um, and then I flit off. I mean, I've got at least 200 to 300 people that are either following me, tracking me, or I'm following them
Yeah.
that I talk with personally. Funny because as a kid of a famous man, I was in the background.
Mhm.
Complete. I was the firstborn, and I was very quiet and very shy. And I just sat. My aunt says that I was the most independent baby she ever met, and I was like, "Baby, a baby? She said, "Yeah, the baby gonna be independent, and we depend on everything from our parents." She said, "You just checked everything out. You were just constantly observant, and the minute you got to start walking, you were gone.
Yeah.
And I was that way the entire time I was growing up, was just very independent child. I was always getting into something. I was always doing something. But then I learned how to be very sneaky. But I my sister was the one that would get intentionally caught, so I would ditch her all the time. In fact, I didn't know what her life was like as we were growing up. That's how much I wasn't paying attention to her.
Yeah.
Uh, but we had parallel lives going through this thing. I mean, they moved us into this all-white neighborhood, uh,
Right.
when when I was going into the 4th grade, and then I spent the rest of my years out there, and it was interesting because, listen, in the '60s, because I was Gibson's kid, I didn't just have the white community coming at me, I also had the black community coming at me because to me, there's a illness that was started by a guy named Willie Lynch, who told white America how to get slaves to turn on each other and just be distrusting of one another and all of these things in order to keep them docile, keep them paying attention to each other and fighting each other and not them.
Yeah.
That is still going on today. And we put celebrities on high so
Mhm.
that my life was not my life. My life was public and
Mm.
everybody had a freaking opinion about it. And as a child, when I looked at my dad and what he was accomplishing and doing, I had no idea what he was doing. I mean, we got to travel all over the country and I still didn't understand how famous he was until I grew up.
Yeah.
Then I understood what was going on back then. But back then I was just a kid. And I loved him and I wanted to learn everything from him. And we didn't get to be with him very
Your
much.
hero?
Huh?
Would you say he was your hero?
Oh, absolutely. My hero. He was the man. He was the one person I looked up to just consistently. So much so I tried to get in his clothes. Now, can you imagine this little runt trying to get in his clothes in this little corner of the closet? My mother had a closet that was bigger than my bedroom, all her clothes. But I found the corner, got in his clothes. And just so people know, I am going to reveal this to everybody. I am an assigned female at birth. I am a trans man. So I grew up socialized as a little girl. And if
Mhm.
anybody knows anything about what was going on back then, we were talking about this earlier.
Mhm.
Girls were to be seen and not heard.
Right.
So I did not get to strut the way the little boys did about
Yep.
their dads. In fact, before the games, because I was in St. Louis a lot, but
Mhm.
before the games, the sons got to play catch with their dad, and I was so mad. I was so angry that they wouldn't let me go out there.
Yeah.
I said, "I can play better than them," and I could. I was an athlete through and through, and my dad said, "Well, that's not the point," and I said, "Well, what is the point?" And he says, "Okay, if you're gonna pout, go back up in the stands." I said, "Yeah, okay," and I'd
Yeah.
stomp. I had his personality, while my sister looked like him, but acted like my mother. I didn't look like him, I looked more like my mother and acted like him. So,
That how it goes, though?
yeah, kinda weird like that. But my dad was a fierce competitor, and he was people talk about how mean they thought he was on the mound and on the field. Well, he was just as mean as a dad. I was scared of him, but at the same time, because my personality was like his, I was always challenging him.
Mhm.
He didn't like that. "Oh, girls don't challenge it." I said, yeah, we do. Yeah, I do."
I
But
tell
I
that
Huh?
too. If you ever ask my dad, he would say, what his biggest pain in his ass was, or he'd probably say my name, so
Yes, I was a pain in the butt. I wanted everything. I usually got everything from him. He had a soft spot for me. I was riding mini bikes around Omaha, um, and, of course, I was getting caught. Who else was riding mini bikes around Omaha looking like a girl? So, It was a trip, because I wanted so much for him to understand who I was, but I couldn't articulate it. I knew I was a boy at an early age, but I didn't even understand what it meant. I didn't understand anything. There was no verbiage in the 1960s, and I just went on. I thought a penis would grow during puberty. That's how off I was.
Right. Yeah.
And I worked out, I was gonna grow pecs. Oh, that's not what showed up.
Yeah. And I think that's really important even now we're still learning language today, even when it comes to just mental health and talking about, what is this behavior? What is this behavior? Because we didn't have language for it back then. I mean, if I would have known what narcissism was back in the day, I would have had my family pinned. I would have been able to handle it. But we didn't have language for it. So I had no idea that, I was being manipulated and all this stuff was happening, you know, but now we do. And I think
Yeah,
that, a as you being such a little kid back in the '60s, I can imagine that being gay and, like, just in the queer community and being trans, that had to have been incredibly difficult
confusing.
to articulate. Yeah.
I was so confused. I didn't know whether I was coming or going. I've always had a deep voice, and so people would call me a little boy, and I'd get mad, and then they'd call me a little girl, and I'd get mad. I didn't know what to think because I didn't talk
Right.
much at all. I That was part of the conditioning I got as Bob Gibson's kid, just stand in front of the cameras and keep your mouth shut.
Right.
And that's what I did, and that's what I tried to encourage my sister to do, but she was a goofy.
Yeah.
And, I'll never forget the 1968 World Series when Kurt Flood dropped the ball in the outfield and they lost that game. Those kids tore us up, and my sister made a stupid face on the camera, and I grabbed her, and I was like, can't you ever behave?" She did something like this, or I don't know what she did, but the TV cameras were in our classroom. They shut down that day, and we
Mhm.
all watched in the classroom that game, and the last game of that series, and we lost, and those kids I went home crying,
Yeah.
and my mother said, "Well, what's wrong?" And "The kids are mean." And
Yeah. They are. Kids are relentless.
oh,
I even see it with my kids now too, just some of the things that they say to each other, like, not my kids to each other, but how they hear kids at school talking, and I'm just like, "Man, kids are assholes today." They are terrible.
they
And
were assholes back then too. I mean,
yeah.
as a little kid, I've never heard racial slurs thrown at me until we moved to that neighborhood. And I was playing with this boy, and he was chasing me down this hill, and I was a fast little fucker. And I'm running, and he got mad that I was running away from him. So he yelled out, "Stop N word and J word." J word is jigaboo. And
Mhm.
I went, "Oh, hell no." And I stopped and turned around, and he's running downhill, and I'm facing uphill. He ran, boom, right into my fist and broke his
Ran
tooth
into your Let's get that
out.
yep, he ran into your fist. Let's get that clear.
He ran into me, but, I got in trouble and had to go to the principal's office, and they called my mom, and she came, and she listened to the principal, and then she turned around and dropped a bomb that carried me all the way through school, which she told that principal, "If any of these little white brats in here call my baby a racial slur, I give them permission to knock their teeth in." And the principal's face got beet red, and I went, "Whoa, mom just dropped a bomb." And I just sat there like this, and the teacher said, "Yes, Mrs. Gibson. Yes, Mrs. Gibson. Yes, Mrs. Gibson." That's all he could say because she was pissed, not
Yeah,
at me, at what they allowed these kids to do.
yeah,
And they never challenged me again.
yep. They
But
don't Bullies usually don't. Once you stand up to a bully, they usually back off because bullies are cowards. That's why they're bullies.
and they tell everybody else too, "Ooh, don't challenge that one. They'll kick your
Yeah,
ass."
yeah,
So, it carried me all the way through the rest of, grade school and Junior high school and high school.
Yeah. I mean, I don't condone violence or anything, but there are certain instances, I have biracial children with my husband, and
Mhm.
they've experienced, their own racism here as well. I mean, we had to move, so we have 2 darker presenting children and we have 2 whiter presenting children. And my 2 white presenting children, they never have any problems.
Yeah,
But my 2 darker presenting children, we've had to move them both from, schools because, we had to throw out the, "We're gonna sue your ass if you don't fucking do something about this."
right.
And finally, when you tell the school that you're gonna sue them and you get a lawyer on retainer and you're ready to go, then they're like,
Oh,
"Whatever you want, Miss Bateman, we'll do whatever you need us to do. We don't want the publicity." So, but it's crazy that it got to that point where,
it's always gonna get to that point.
yeah, yeah.
Racism is
Why?
alive and well, and I swear to God, they're fighting the wrong thing in this country.
Yeah, but,
They're
we
trying to
just
fight
put this.
fascism, but fascism came from racism.
Oh, it all comes from white supremacy. Like, everything that happens in this country, I always say that this is the house that white supremacy built. America is the house that white supremacy built, and we all walk through different doors to get here, but nonetheless, we all arrive at the same fucking place.
Yep,
We're all here, and we're all here because of white supremacy,
yep,
because of what it does to us, what it's currently doing to us. Every
mhm.
system we have, is built from white supremacy. So I'm I
Well,
s
with all the money that we had and all the fame that we had, we still had experienced racism, or
Yep.
I have all my life, I've been fighting it.
Yeah.
We traveled from the Midwest to Florida to go to dad's spring training after him and Bill White and Curt Flood integrated Major League Baseball. Um, and then we start to travel. We had to stop on the side and piss on the side of the road because of white only bathrooms.
Yeah.
So, it's like black people have lived under authoritarian rule the entire time we've been in this country. So this stuff isn't new to us. When it all broke out, we just sat here like,
Yeah. You
not
know,
surprising us, it's
we
surprising.
just had a talk with, Jackie Summers,
Mhm.
uh, and I don't know if you were able to
I
come
saw
on,
the whole thing.
but he was saying the same things. He's just like, because I asked him, I said, "When you were a kid, what did you hope that today would look like?" And he said, "I didn't really have hope." It and that hurt me. I'm not that was one thing that I still think about it today when I'm just sitting here and I'm kind of staring off. I think about that, and it's heartbreaking. It is absolutely heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking for you and infuriating for us because
Yeah,
we know it's not gonna ever end. This country is too vested and too invested and too embedded with racism that
yeah,
they're never gonna get rid of it. And then the people who aren't really racist, they don't know what to do with the ones who are. So and we're not the ones that are gonna fix it. I mean, we're the targets. How the target's gonna fix it? We didn't create this.
yeah,
So if they don't fight each other over it, that's what the Civil War was about.
yeah.
Problem is they didn't get rid of the Confederates. They didn't
I
do
know.
the right thing,
They
and
did not.
their descendants
Oh,
are the ones that have this country right now.
mhm.
Their descendants.
Yep, I absolutely agree with that statement because my husband and I have talks like this all the time, and I'm so we're here because the Confederacy was not punished appropriately,
Correct,
you know?
correct.
I mean, I've never seen so much hate in my life. And I've always known, I've always known it was out there, and I've always known that, I held a privilege that I didn't ask for in this country, and, you know, it's I've seen it, I have felt it, I see it play out in real life, and it's just I've just never seen it to this level.
Well, that's because of the Internet. That's because of technology. It
Yeah,
was always there.
yeah,
It just wasn't people didn't see it because technology allows us to see everything at all times. But
and
that's
I
good
the
as
Trump regime too. I think that he's emboldened people to be their worst
yes,
selves,
yes.
because at least I
Mhm.
do, like my dad's pretty racist, and he's one. I mean, I've been no contact with all of my family now for 10 years because of the way that they are, and my dad was pretty racist, but my dad was racist behind closed doors. I can imagine my dad is racist openly now.
Well, it doesn't matter to us. In fact, covert racism is almost more difficult to
It
deal
is so insidious.
than overt, because the covert ones will smile in my face and da-da-da-da, and minute I turn my back, they're calling me the N-word,
Yeah,
or they're treating me in a microaggressive way, and I know every
yeah,
time somebody does that, I know where they're coming from. They would and but it's so it's so weird that they don't even know that's where they're coming from.
yeah. No, they don't. They don't understand the inherent racism that's just baked inside of themselves until it comes out, and then somebody, especially somebody that looks like me, looks at them that looks like me and says, "What the fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah,
Don't say
right.
that." You know? And that's when they kind of like, well, they get offended. What do you mean?
They
It was
clutch their
just a
pearls.
joke,
Well,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like,
but see,
"No, you're
what I just
sick."
found out in the last 10 years, I began my transition in 2015, and what I found out was that I can use my male privilege for everybody, including women, and I have done it, and I do it here on Substack, and it pisses the shit out of the guys because I just come at them,
Yeah,
and they don't understand why I do, because I understand the female experience inside and out.
right.
Um, but using my if I don't use my privilege, I'm just as bad as everybody else. Really. It's like,
Yeah,
nah, you gotta use it for good. You gotta use it and open your mouth and say something to these guys who are
yeah,
acting like imbeciles towards women. But I wish people would do that. White people would do that for black people. I
yeah.
don't that part has never really happened for me. Um, I remember as a child, I went to a party and my best friend beat up this girl, beat her to a pulp because she was digging on a boy that she liked. And so she
Mm,
beat her up. I hid her and got her out of the house and went home. Guess who the police came after?
yeah.
Had to be the black kid. And they came to the door, and my mom made me come to the door, and I'm like, "What? No, I didn't beat up anybody."
Mhm,
And I didn't tell on her. I didn't say, "Well, I helped her get out of the house," because everybody was looking for her. Yeah.
mhm.
The people in the party knew, so I don't know why the police are coming here. But that old blame it on the black kid because, "Oh, black people are inherently violent." You know what? We wouldn't be this way if we didn't have to be oppressed every day of our life. It's like a pressure cooker.
But I
To
mean, I also think that's a narrative, I don't believe Black people are inherently violent. Every Black person I've ever met has never been violent. But you know who has been violent? Every white
white
man.
people. I know they
Yes.
project, but that projection is so that they can diminish who we are as human beings
Right,
and
right.
make us less than or somehow not human or something like that, so
Yeah.
that people would be afraid of us. And people,
Mhm.
I'm the most like in the public. I'm very approachable. I'm scarily approachable. So I usually don't. I know I won't say I don't believe in violence, but I'm not a violent person. I'm a happy-go-lucky goofball out in public, and people know that, people see that,
Mhm.
um, but sometimes people don't, and they automatically have the dukes up and ready to fight. I've had police.
My husband is the same way. He also has PTSD from war, so he's got his war face on all the time, and there's been times where we've been in public and I'm like, "Derek, fix your face. You look like you're ready to murder somebody."
That's your
You know?
face.
But, he said the same thing. He said that, there's a lot of people that they just see the color of his skin, and they automatically assume that he's, there to steal something or there to create harm, cause harm or
Yeah.
something like that. And I don't know. Like I said, I've never met a black person that's been violent, but I've met many, many black men that have been violent.
Yeah.
So I think in my brain, it's like, it's just a narrative. And I don't know. I've never, I guess, been one of those women to like clutch my purse because I've never felt that way towards the black community. I've always had
I've
an
had people do that to me.
black community.
I was trained in, Biloxi, Mississippi, and I had white people, staring at me really hard on the sidewalk, and I went to New Orleans every weekend I could because I hated Biloxi, Mississippi. But so I would go to New Orleans, but even in New Orleans, I would be walking down the street and people would be staring at me. And finally, I got to my destination. I asked a lady who lived there, who was from there, why are the people staring at me so hard on the sidewalk? She said, well, did you get out of their way? I said, what? Did you get off of the sidewalk to let these white people pass? I said, no. They said, that's why they were staring at you.
That's crazy.
They were ready to kill me because I didn't get off the sidewalk.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So,
I
mm.
like the 60s seems like such a shitty time. Like I don't know.
Well,
Like
that was the latter '70s.
yeah, and and the same thing with, again, I go back because I grew up a white girl, so I didn't have those same experiences. But every single time I talk to my husband or my husband's dad, um, who was like a big yoked black man in the 60s, and I listen to these stories and just how blows my mind. And this is why I love talking to people that can help like educate us on the black experience, because we really need to understand
That
what we've done as white people to
mhm.
black people on a large scale, because
People don't wanna look, though. People don't want to
I
see.
know, I
And I
know.
don't know if
But
it's a sense of guilt or I don't know exactly what it is, but it's like they don't want to know our experience. I've gotten into it with people on Substack. I don't wanna hear it. Why does everything have to be about race? Well, for us, it is. For us, they
yeah,
look at us and they make snap judgments on who they make judgments on our names, they make judgment on our hair, they make judgment on our skin,
mhm,
and they're ready to treat us a particular way until we prove to be otherwise.
yep,
Then we become their token black. It's ridiculous. It's like, no, you guys gotta understand the experience or you'll never, ever turn things around
yep.
with us.
Even like with women, when I talk to other white women, I kind of tell them like, you know how I feel about men? How we're like, it's all men until it's no men. I was like, bitch, it's all us until it's none of us.
Exactly. Exactly. I tell
Like it,
people all the time I write like that. I'll say all white people or I'll say something like that, and I said, "Look, I don't mean every single one of you.
right.
I'm talking about the ones who are. All of them are the same way, the ones who are that way. So I'm not even talking to you who is not that way unless the shoe fits. If the shoe fits and you complain too loud, you're like them." So
What I tell them too, because I'll be very vague and I'll just say I just posted this thing about Spam Burger and Cheryl, how they just like, fucked their constituents, and didn't do it, they weren't being very good Democrats. And I just put white women doing white women shit because they're upholding the patriarchy. And it's very specific white women that I'm talking about. But
mm,
I'll get white women in the comments saying, well, it's not all white women. And then I'll say, did I say all white women? Or are you having feelings? And that to me, it's like, y'all need to sit with that shit. If I say, white women doing white women shit and you get offended, that is something that you need to take up with
yeah,
you.
you,
You know, I
you're doing white woman shit, just reacting that way.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, you got something to look at, you got something to work on. But see,
Yep.
the thing is, because you guys are the default, you think you don't have to.
Right.
Why do white people gotta do any damn thing except own this country, everything about it?
Yeah.
They are the ones that all of these laws and everything that goes on here is making space for. It's not making space for people like me. It's not making space for any other minority in this
Mhm.
country. It's only making space for white and black, sorry, white men and white women or white others. White others also experience some of that. So it's, they figure they don't have to.
Yeah.
They've got an opt out button. I'm opting out of that. I don't have to do that. No, you don't, but look at where we are because you didn't.
Yeah. And that's another thing too is, I was like, white women, they are both victim of patriarchy and they're both upholders and enforcers of patriarchy. So we're actually, black people don't owe us anything. They don't owe us trust. They don't owe us shit because until it's all, you know, or until it's no white women, it's going to be all white women because how how would how would a black person know just coming up to me that they can trust me? Even I wear a fight for those without your privilege sweatshirt and I'm like, you can
We don't,
that
I
it,
don't trust
yeah,
none of y'all
yeah,
until you come across to me and I can get a feeling for you.
yep,
Otherwise, the default is no, I don't trust you because I don't trust you'll hear me the right way. I don't trust you'll hold my heart the right way. I don't trust you'll hold my feelings or my words or anything about me the right way until you show me that you do. And then I'll go, oh, okay. And I can relax. You know,
yeah.
even you, I don't even remember how I met you, but you
I
came
reached out to you.
up.
I said, "I reached out to you because I was just reading through your stuff and, you seem like such an interesting person and I love interesting people. I want to know every interesting person in the world." That's my goal.
Well, I've had an interesting life. We had it seemed like we had a big party every other month in the house. Every black performer or celebrity coming through Omaha ended up at our house. As a kid, I hated it because I didn't like all those people around all the time. I didn't know who they were. And they were in my house and they were in my space. And okay, fine. I'm going to go down there and beat them playing pool and then get rushed out of the room when they started getting drunk and rowdy. And then my parents would make me go upstairs. But one time, the Fifth Dimension, I don't know if you remember them as a singing group, they came
I don't.
and
Come up.
they were a singing group. And we had a party for them. And I got pushed out of the party because it was getting late and they were getting drunk. But the female, not Marilyn McCoo, but the other one followed me to my bedroom, and she came in my room, and I'm like, "Hi," and she gave me a hug, and she said, "How are you?" I'm looking around like, "Who is she talking to?" "I'm fine, I guess." She says, "Well, I was just wondering what your life is like." Now, I'm only 10? No, I was maybe 11. I didn't know what to say to this lady, but you know what? That was the nicest thing that anybody
Yeah.
had done because typically the children are not seen.
Seen, not heard, and then yeah.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
she wanted to know what that was like.
Yeah.
I thought that was the coolest thing. I couldn't stop talking about her. And
Oh.
of course, we knew other celebrities that I'll leave unnamed because they got in a lot of trouble later in life. Um, but a lot of celebrityism. And
Were you ever starstruck by anybody?
no. They were
No.
just they were grown-ups to me, they were the grown-ups, ew, who wanted to be
Yeah.
around grown-ups? Ew.
Yeah.
They were to be avoided for me, so
Right.
I didn't know they were famous people. That
Yeah.
was my normal, was to be around people like that, and my cousins were my best friends.
Mhm.
So I got to experience poverty through their eyes, through their experiences, through me being around them all the time.
Mhm.
So I had a double life, and
Mhm.
I had relatives who hated me and hated our family for having money and being, well-to-do. So
Mm.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know I was so different,
Yeah.
and I didn't know my dad was famous. He was just my dad, and he was to be avoided too at all costs. But he let me do some cool things. He sent me to Switzerland,
Wow.
um, with a group. So I got to do things that most Black people didn't get to do,
Yeah.
not in that city. But it didn't make it didn't imprint my soul like I was better for being for having those experiences. I just had those experiences, and
Mhm.
they did not make me arrogant. It didn't make me any of those things. My sister neither.
Yeah.
Um, because that was our normal. It's not like I looked at them and thought everybody else got to do those things. No, I didn't think that.
Yeah.
But I shared those experiences as much as I could with my family. Um,
That's incredible. I think you're a beautiful soul, honestly. I mean, just even before meeting you, just having our interactions, just kind of writing back and forth to each other, I was like, "This guy's amazing." I was telling my husband, I was like, he's so kind and he's so like, he's got all this
oh,
life experience and he just seems so humble, but he's just seems so confident, and I'm kinda jealous of the confidence." And I was like, "He's just"
oh, you haven't seen me at my worst. I be cussing people out around here. Um, I'm not always nice. I put something in JoJo from Jers. I put something in her post about the asshole that goes unnamed. Um, and I said, he needs to be in a home. And some other guy came along and said, "Oh, that's so nice of you." And I said, um, LOL, no, I'm really not nice. Yes, I feel kind of sorry for the guy, but I'm waiting for the big, beautiful obituary, and I'll stand in line to piss on his grave. And
Yeah.
everybody started laughing at that one. No, I'm not as nice as I appear in that one little comment. But yeah, I get blocked all the time.
Yeah. I mean, same, same. I get blocked by people too that I'm gonna leave unnamed tonight, but I'm sure everybody that reads my shit knows who I'm talking about.
Yeah, people who follow me, they know because sometimes I expose them.
Yeah.
I'll take snapshots of the conversation before they block me. Then I'll turn around and put it back on Substack.
Yeah. I know, I'm a screenshotter too, especially if
Mhm,
I'm doing some bullshit. I'm like,
mhm,
saving that because I know this is gonna come back.
mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like shitty people, and I don't like people that, hurt other people,
Yeah,
and
me neither.
I think I'm at that something happened to me when I turned 40, because I was always loud, and I was always, you know, very independent and just stood on my own 2 feet, and I did not need a flock behind me. I was pretty, I was a solo person through life. I didn't need a ton of friends to feel whole and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's because just the way that I grew up. And then, when I left home, I left when I was, um, 34 because I had endured this horrific smear campaign from my family and my ex-husband. So terrible that, my children turned against me. They didn't want anything to do with me, and I was literally alone. I had nothing and nobody. So I just said, well, you know what? I deserve love and I deserve peace. And, regardless of everything that they say about me, I still deserve what I deserve. I deserve to be happy and I deserve love. So I chose to leave and start rebuilding my life. And I've been away from my family now for 10 years, but I did it solo. I did it kind of, like I had a boyfriend down here and I was like, we're done. I don't want any attachments to Michigan where I'm from. And then I met my now husband, in the end of 19, early 2020. I want probably like December-ish. Um, and I've been with him ever since, and it's just I don't know, it's just me and him. You know, I do have uh, I do have friends. I just wanna say
Mhm. I
I
was gonna
do have
say,
But, I mean, I have the kind of friends where we can go, 3 or 4 months without talking and then just pick up the phone like no time has even lapsed, you know? It's not like we have to keep, tabs on each other and checking on each other nonstop, but we do check in every once in a while, and that's just kinda how my life has been. But when I see people getting hurt, when I see children getting hurt, when I see women getting hurt, when I see the Black community, the disabled community, LGBTQ community getting hurt, I can't help myself
Mm.
but say something. I can't help myself but write a Substack article
Well,
and share.
you're a justice warrior.
Oh, my social injustice it's off the charts,
Yeah.
off the
So am
charts.
I. I mean, I will bend over back. I will do things for people that other people won't.
Yeah.
Um, I was on Facebook one day and this lady that I had met before screamed out for help on Facebook that she had gone into the psych ward at the VA and they were mistreating her. She was trans. I got in my car and I went down there and hit those people up so hard. I ended up in the director's office and I said, "Look, well, you don't have a power of attorney." I said, "I don't care what the fuck I got." She reached out and said, "Y'all treating her bad. She came in here because she wanted to kill herself. Y'all gonna push her over the edge? What the hell's wrong with you?" Blah, blah, blah. And
Yeah.
by the time I finished with them, they said, "Oh dear, maybe we better not mistreat this lady because somebody is in her corner." And it was me. And the next day, she called me up and said, "What did you say to them?" I said,
There.
I said, "It doesn't matter." I said, "How are you doing?" "They're kissing my ass." And I said, "Good.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. Good." And, I will do that because I can't stand injustice. I you and I are alike that way. I can't stand it. Um,
I think you would have a great conversation with I have a friend on here, his name is Chris Resist, I believe he's in the chat right now, but he is very much
who
like
said that might have been me?
yeah. He is very much like that too, and I think you 2 would have such a great conversation. He also has a trans daughter, and he advocates for her all the time, and he's so great.
Rick, what's chin music?
Chin music, let's see here.
Rick from Dark Coast. Others can't take chin
Other
music, Ray.
state chin music. I don't know, what is chin music? Rick, are you still here? What's chin music? We need to know.
But yeah, I also told my therapist that when George Floyd got killed in front of everybody's face,
Right.
that I didn't understand why somebody didn't sneak up behind that cop and tackle him. I said I would have done
That
it just
that
to give that man life, just so that he didn't kill him. I would have went to jail, but you know what? A man would have been alive.
yeah,
And just the other day, somebody said he didn't get murdered. I cussed him clean out.
uh, they just did the same thing to somebody in Ireland. And the crazy thing about it is it happened again, for Christ's sakes. But the other thing that I found, really revealing was the people of Ireland were saying, "This is what happens in America. This doesn't happen here. This is American behavior. This doesn't happen here."
Who said that?
The people of Ireland, when that because they just did the same thing they did to George Floyd, they did to some, uh, man, I can't his name is escaping my head right now, but they just did it to somebody in Ireland. And all of the people that they were interviewing, they're going, "This is what they do in America. They don't do that here. This is American behavior."
They do it
And I
every
was like, "Man, America has such a good
well,
reputation."
it happens more here, but it does happen in other places too.
Yeah,
Where racism is global.
yeah. When you were in the military, did you experience a lot of was it pretty toxic?
It was toxic, but I didn't experience much overt racism. It was all covert and sexist to the bone. Oh my
Yeah,
God. They wouldn't leave me alone. And
yeah.
I was like, finally I said, well, I'm a lesbian. Now I kept it under wraps that that was the community I could identify with.
Mhm.
And then when I told them so they'd leave me alone, they didn't believe me.
Yeah.
"Oh, no. You guys stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it." I was the first female on the unit. My duty station was in Sunnyvale, California, and, oh, that was fun how I got that job. A baseball
Out?
a baseball signed by my dad to the recruiter, and I got the duty station of my choice.
Wow. That's all it took was a baseball, huh? Well, signed by your dad.
Autograph.
That was a legend.
Yeah,
Yeah. Wow.
so, yeah, I got my duty station of choice, and I scored high on the written test, so I went right into the computer industry from, in the military. So that was my MOS.
Okay.
I was never deployed, so we get made fun of. They say, "Oh, you were in the chair force." I said, "You know what? That's alright, 'cause when I got out within 10 years, I was making 6 figures. What did you get?"
Right. What year were you in
Grunt it. Huh?
what year were you in Sunnyvale?
1978 for 20 years.
Okay. Perfect.
So I kinda grew up there because I was 21 when I landed there,
Right.
and, I stayed there until I became a consultant. I became a contractor and started traveling the country. But all of my ex I've got I figured out that I have a very unique set of experiences because not
Mhm.
many like me have lived the rich side and the poor side, the homeless side and the rich side, and
Mhm.
everything in between. So I've got this perspective that is just weird. And I got drop kicked. You're lucky you got to stay at home till you're 34. I got drop kicked when I
Well,
was
no,
18.
I meant home as in Michigan. I was actually
Oh, oh, oh.
married when I was 18 and started having
Oh,
kids.
okay.
So, like, I yeah.
Well, I
You know,
was wild,
it's
so I
as soon
got
as I
kicked out.
turned se as soon as I turned 18, my mom's like, "Get the fuck out." Like, I got yeah. No, I was out by the time I was 18.
Well, I didn't wanna go, but I had to go because I was too wild. They dad and my mom could not control me. It just I did too many things, and I was just too I wouldn't follow their orders, so I had to go. Actually, it was coming out
Yeah.
to my dad. He
How
left.
did was that experience? Did it
It was
go
awful because
the plan
he
or
shut down, and then he didn't say anything for a week or 2, and then I brought a friend. I told him this woman was coming by. Now, I wasn't dating her. She was just a friend, and I told him she was coming over, and he went off on me. He went off. He got violent, and, then I got kicked out. So, he couldn't handle it. Now, my mom was the exact opposite, and she just loved me no matter what. But my dad had a hard time with anything that looked like not in the box that he was living in.
right. Did he ever explain to you why it was difficult? No?
We never had that kind of relationship where I would try to get him into conversations, and he was just so afraid.
Yeah.
He was afraid to open up and really love me well because somehow he thought it was gonna touch his reputation, and he didn't realize that I had been protective of his relationship I'm sorry, his reputation all my life. I have been protective of him, but he never knew it because he never asked me,
Yeah.
and he didn't realize that I shielded him from many, many, many things, including getting married. Although I did shove my, wedding album at him. "Here, look at this, dad." And he took it, he opened it, he shut it. I said, "No, look through it, dad. Everybody in here has looked through it. There's nothing in there that's gonna scare you. I'm not
Mhm.
having sex with somebody in the wedding photos. I mean, come on, man."
Right, right.
So finally, he looked through it and said, okay. Well, I got married in Hawaii when it was
Oh, beautiful.
acceptable, more acceptable out there. There were all these people on the beach that were part of the ceremony, and they were just strangers standing there. But
Yeah.
it was very lovely, and I've had so much fun and I've had so much devastation all in one life. The homelessness was I almost died out there. Um, but God said, "No, I've got plans for you."
Mhm.
I made it through the skin
You
of my.
gotta meet this lady Amber or Eve well, my government name is Amber, but I go by Evie. That's what my husband gave me my nickname. He was like, "You know, you look you're an Evie. We're gonna call you Evie."
That's not even your name?
No, it's my nickname. I think he's telling me I needed a hood name. He's like, "What's your
You're
hood name?"
making my
I
rock hot.
Huh?
You're making my rock hot.
Yeah, and, I've never really liked my name. My dad named me, my mom hated my name, and I kinda hate my dad, and, I just was like, I'm okay with it." I was like, "You wanna give me a hood name, honey? Give me a hood name.
Ah,
I call you Evie."
I've
That's
changed my name twice, and it was hard on my family, and my dad, he was mad. But you know what? He came around at the end of his life
yeah.
in hospice.
Relationship with him towards like, did you guys kind of reconcile and get back on somewhat good terms,
I was always the initiator. I refused to be anything other than his child. I just refused. So I would always go around him. I would always initiate contact. And what was he gonna do? Said,
Yeah.
you're stuck with me."
Mhm.
And, because I love my father, even though he's a shit, and the
Yeah,
world doesn't even know that. The world thinks, "Oh, well, all they think is baseball star."
yeah.
They don't know he was just a man that was a product of his times, a man who didn't have very many friends who could tell him what was really going on with me or with anybody else, and, the divorce from my mom was ugly, 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 awful. Drug the kids through the mud. I'd
Mm,
go to school and people would ask me questions, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't
right.
know what happened. Don't ask me. That's awful personal, don't you think? What do
Mhm.
I know about what they're going through? I don't know. But, the kids get forgotten kinda,
They
uh,
do.
especially of famous people, unless the parent makes a point of bringing the kid along. I mean,
Right.
look at what Whitney Houston did with her daughter, she held
Mhm.
close. But
Yeah.
not every black celebrity or any celebrity for real does that for
Mhm.
their children. Um,
Yeah.
just kinda leave us behind and leave us to make our own way, and I'm glad that it made me stronger, but you know what? My entire life, I was missing my dad.
Yeah. I know that feeling. As much as I can't have I can't have them in my life. It's not that I don't want them in my life. I just can't. They're just so toxic and
Mhm.
what they did is kind of unforgivable. I mean, I don't know a single person that would turn their own child's children against them. It just blows my mind, you know? And I have relationship with my oldest son. My other 2 are estranged, my youngest son and I don't really talk ever, and my middle son and I are very intermittently talking. But my oldest son and I have, conversations all the time, and he told me exactly what happened, and I I don't know. I'm still working on it. I'm still trying, I forgive them for me, but I just can't forgive them. I'm just there. I'm at that point where I'm just like, "Nah, y'all can fuck off for good. I don't want you in my
Well,
life." Whole
forgiveness doesn't mean a relationship.
Yeah,
It doesn't mean that.
yeah,
You're releasing yourself from the pain,
right.
and that's
Yep,
it. It doesn't mean you're gonna be in a relationship with them, but,
right.
it means you let go of the harm, the pain,
Yeah.
and I've had to
No, I
do that.
still have those
Oh,
moments.
I gotta do that with all of y'all white people.
I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, but it's the same way, I every Mother's Day, I miss my mom. When every time I look in the fucking mirror, I see my mother's face now. That's kinda crazy. I ain't gonna lie, that's kinda crazy.
When I lost my mom, I made a point. I was very disturbed of women who didn't have a good relationship with their mom. So much so that I fixed 2 relationships between the mother and the daughter because I couldn't stand it. And
Yeah.
Mother's Day are hard for me
Yeah.
not having mine because I loved her so much and we were best friends. We vacationed together, we partied together.
Yeah.
Um, she ate pot and I smoked it. I mean,
We're learning about Ray tonight, people.
uh, um,
But,
but
I love seeing people even though I don't have a good relationship with my mom, I feel like I've gotten to the point finally where, yeah, I have those feelings that I miss her, but I rarely cry over it anymore. It's just something that I've just accepted now.
mm,
But I love seeing people have good relationships with their parents. My husband has an incredible relationship with his parents. I have a good relationship with his parents, like Becky comes over and him and I are fighting over, I'm like, come on, Becky, we can
ah, you
come over
fighting.
here. You're my mom. You're my mom tonight.
My dad loved me because when I came home, he would throw me parties,
Yeah.
and then he would act crazy at times. So it was a very, ambiguous relationship,
Yeah.
and when I told him I was transitioning, he didn't know what the transitioning to what, you know? But I told him all about it, and he was just like, "What?" And then I went home, fully bearded, and all he did was stare at me the entire time like, "Who in the hell is this?"
Yeah.
My child. I didn't start my transition until I was 58 years old. I was a late bloomer, and, because I didn't know. I didn't know until I saw Chaz Bono on Dancing with the Stars.
Tell me
And
about that.
huh?
Tell me about that.
Oh my god. I was in Texas, and I'm sitting in front of the TV, and he comes on, and I'm like, "Isn't that" and I said the dead name. The dead name is the name before he changed it.
Mhm.
I said, "That's what the hell is that on his face? And what the hell what" and I was glued to it, right? And then my entire life started flashing
Mm.
in front of my face. It was like, "Oh my god. Oh my god," because he would tell his story before the dances.
Yeah.
I was clicking on all cylinders, all that stuff, and I went back to my childhood instantly, and all of the things that I thought, and all of the things that I felt, and all of the and I was scared.
Right.
I was so scared that I ran from it for 4 years. I moved to Georgia, and I told my therapist, "I think I might be like him." She says, "That's wonderful," and she was all chippery, and I'm looking at her like, "This sounds like death to me, lady. What do you mean you're happy for wha" Well, I've got some clients, I've got some patients that are trans, and it's so lovely, and let's talk about it, and I said, "No, let's not," and pretend that we did, and I refused to talk about it for the next 2 years, but I kept researching it, and
Yeah.
researching it, and researching it. I couldn't stop researching it. Of course, I was looking for all the awful shit. I was looking for every reason not to embrace this part of me,
Mhm.
and then I just got tired. I mean, god dang, fighting every day, fighting that every day for 4 years.
Right.
Finally, I gave it up. I said, "I can't fight this anymore. This is who I am, embrace it. Just embrace it. You're fighting a losing battle. Best thing I ever did in my life." And I didn't know it would be like that. I thought it was gonna be awful for
Yeah.
some reason, because I was looking at the country and the way that they were hating on us,
Right.
and I said, I don't wanna do that." But once I did, I just my whole life changed, and I reached out to Chaz, uh,
Yeah.
when you could, and told him, and he was receptive to me because I told him who my dad was and that I'm not after him,
Right. Right.
like a fan. Um,
Yeah.
I said, "I just wanted to thank you for opening my eyes, because if I hadn't seen you, I would have still been in the dark."
Oh.
And, yeah, that I know. I'll I'll cry. Um, but, it was best thing that ever happened to me because the missing puzzle, I found the missing piece of the puzzle
Yeah.
of me.
Right.
And, I know my mom is smiling somewhere. I absolutely know it because she was my rock. She was my everything. She, that's why I miss her so much 'cause, she held me on high at all times, supported everything that I ever did. I took her to a gay party, and she's sitting around listening and watching all of these people, and she joined in the conversation. She said, "Well, baby, y'all were born this way." I whipped around and looked at her, I said, "Since when have you believed that?" She said, "Well, I had a conversation with Susie, and she told me that what's really so for you guys. And yeah, I believe you were born this way." Well, she
Yeah.
had no idea what this way really was for me, but because I wasn't really a lesbian. I That's just the closest community I had that kinda looked like me.
Right.
Um, I had no idea the trans was sitting there because I had stuffed it. I
Right.
told my mom I wanted a sex change when I was 13. I didn't even know what that
Yeah.
was.
Period story. I remember you telling me about that.
I
You
didn't
know
know what
what?
I was
I think we
saying.
all did the second we got our periods. We were like,
And,
I
well,
want to
I was on the bus and I would hear the girls talking about it and talking about things, and I'd be like, "God, please don't ever let me go through that. I don't wanna go through that." And then it happened, and I told my mom, "That's it." But it hit a place in me that because not only that, I didn't want the chest part to change either. I was supposed to have pecs. I was supposed to have a dick. I'm sorry. I was supposed to have one. It
right.
was supposed to grow there. And, but I had to stuff it all.
Mhm.
And so when I came out, springtime every day for a year until asshole got elected and said he was going after trans in the
Right.
military. That's when I turned.
Yeah.
Well,
You know,
usually doing that is
crazy
military alone.
when so my son is in the military and he joined I think 2022 or 23, one of those years. Time's moving so fucking fast right now. I
Really
can't
fast.
get a hold of it anymore. But when he did that there was I think it was 4 trans military service members that were being forced into retirement,
Yep.
and they
They
honored.
ruined their careers. For
Yeah,
what?
they did. They ruined their fucking careers. I just God, I hope y'all get your justice. I just, I know I'm throwing around that word hope again, but I do have hope, and I hope y'all get your justice because what
I
is
wish
happening.
you would have hope. You can have hope. You can have hope the way that people had hope for me when I first got clean and sober. They held all of that for me until I grew into it.
Yeah,
So, it's possible that if enough people care, something may happen, who knows? I'm just not gonna wish for it because then I will constantly be in a state of disappointment.
yeah. It reminds me of that movie. They're grumpy old men, and they're
Oh, I love that movie.
wish in one hand and shit in the other, and see which one gets filled up faster.
I called my dad a grumpy old man. He said, "I am not a grumpy old man." I said, "Yeah, you are. And you know what? I'm gonna end up just like you." And he said, "But I'm not a grumpy." I said, "Yeah, okay,
Eh,
whatever." I had a teasing relationship with him. I could tease him. We just couldn't talk about anything because
yeah,
he had a Teflon ego. Man, maybe he was a narcissist and I didn't know it, but his ego could get punctured very easily, and then so I didn't try to talk to him too much.
yeah,
Um, but it's just all so interesting to live this life from the perspective that I've lived in. And then God gave me a bunch of children. They're not mine. I didn't put them on this earth, but they tagged me and said, "You're it."
yeah,
And the first one I said, "No, I'm not it. I'll be your bro, your uncle, your" he said, "No, you're my father." I said, "No." And so I fought him for a year. And then I finally said, "Okay, you're doing that thing, Ray, where something's knocking on your door and you are going, I ain't opening the door." I opened the door and a whole bunch of people followed him that didn't even know him. Uh,
Mhm.
so now I've got 6 or something around the world,
Wow.
and they just love me. I might meet him this summer. He's moving to Canada from Uganda.
Okay.
Um, I might get to meet him is if they don't fuck with our passports. See, I'm at the intersection of all of these different lives, and it's like, oh man.
I
Um,
there's a lot happening right now. I don't know. I worry for people traveling into the United States and leaving the United
and
States and
trying to get out.
back. Yeah, I do worry about people because, who knows who they're gonna target next. But Ray, I want to thank you so much for having this conversation. I would love to have you back on again one of these evenings so we can talk more. Um, I definitely would like to have you on with my friend Chris Resists. I think that that would be a wild conversation. You guys
Okay, you take both of us at the same time?
stop. But yeah, so I think that, this was such a great conversation. And I just think you're an incredible soul. And I'm so glad that the universe threw us in the same bubble. I do want to let you plug your YouTube channel, where people can find you and everything. So go ahead and do that, and then I'll do my closing line, and we will get on to our weekend.
So here I'm at King Ray Vet or Ray's Boom Boom Room. Remember Ray Gibson in Life? That
Yeah.
movie? So I named my house and I named my Substack Boom Boom, Ray's Boom Boom Room.
And YouTube.
YouTube is uh the pollinator or TMX Life. You can also find all of my videos. I've got about 200 and something videos out there. Um, so yeah, they can find me one of those ways.
Okay. And you have any other written anything anywhere that people.
Oh, a wonderful article that Ken Schultz of Outsports.com wrote about me. That one makes people cry.
Is that the one that you sent me in the
Yep.
chat?
Yep.
Okay. Before we get off here, I'm going to put it in the chat really quick just so I can find it here. Well, Dallas internet, man. Never mind, nothing's loading.
Uh-oh.
Ugh. You happen to have the link?
Yeah.
Y Yeah. You can just throw it in the chat real quick for everybody, that would be great. It was a great article, by the way. I read it, like, 3
He
times.
did a bang up job. The first time I read it, I cried.
Yeah, it was a great article. Thank you so much for sharing that with me.
Because that was a 1 hour, 1 to 1.5 hour conversation with him, and he wrote that. Good grief.
Yeah, Ashley, he's finding the link right now, and he's gonna throw it in the chat before we end the call here.
Okay, here we go.
All right, looks like he threw it in the chat, so everybody, I encourage you to read that article. It's a great article. I read it a few times now. It's wonderful. Ray, pleasure to have you. Thank you everybody that came and listened tonight. I mean, such an incredible story, such an incredible human being. I can't wait to have more of these talks, and I appreciate everybody for joining us tonight. Um, Ray,
Put it on my page, Ray. Okay, Ashley.
yeah, I think she just wants you
I'll
to
put that link on
fill
my
it.
page. And
Yeah,
thank you everybody for being so gracious in the chat. I appreciate that. And
yeah.
thank you,
Love
Evie.
Ray. Yeah, absolutely. I just adore you, and I want to have more conversations.
Okay.
All right, bye everybody. Have a good weekend. See you later.